भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्।
हे ब्रह्मांड के रचयिता, हम तुम्हारी असीम कृपा के प्रार्थी हैं। तुम्हारी अनंत ऊर्जा हमें स्वास्थ्य दे, बुद्धि दे तथा सुख का पथ प्रदर्शित करे। सारांश स्वरूप गायत्री महामंत्र किसी देवी देवता नहीं, अपितु उस ऊर्जा को आह्वान है जिससे जीवन संभव होता है। इसीलिए गायत्री धर्मों की संकीर्ण सीमाओं से परे है।
ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्।
ब्रह्मांड के रचयिता स्वयं ब्रह्मा जी की रचना है गायत्री महामंत्र। सब मंत्रों का मूल मंत्र, सर्व वेदों का सार। परंतु दैनंदिन जीवन के स्तर पर गायत्री का सस्वर पठन मंत्रोच्चार करने वाले व्यक्ति में ऊर्जा का संचार करता है। एक प्रकार से विषाद, ग्लानि एवं तनाव की स्वर औषधि।
ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्।
गायत्री मंत्र का एक एक अक्षर, एक एक वर्ण हमारे शरीर के चक्रों को, ऊर्जा केंद्रों को प्रभावित करता है। इसीलिए इसके पठन में सही उच्चारण तथा स्वर नियंत्रण महत्वपूर्ण है।
ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ। ॐ तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्।
Test, test. It's not on. Okay.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, just a moment of your attention, please. We are going to be beginning our program in just a moment, and I do have one housekeeping announcement. If you have a cell phone, I would ask that you turn it on silent or turn it off for today's program. Thank you. Yes. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, just one housekeeping announcement. If you do have a cell phone, I will ask that you turn it on to silent or turn it off during today's program honoring Mr. Singh. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. To start off, our program today. We have a guest here from PLR Samaj in Brampton, Ontario. We have Pandit Naresh Prasad.
Supreme Namaste. I bow to the divine in you. And a very good afternoon to you all. Thank you for being here to join this family in this last rites Antyeshti Sanskar. It is a difficult time for the family to see a loved one passing on. However, as human beings, we are souls, first and foremost. And according to our teachings, Vedic Satya Sanatan Dharma, we know the soul is reborn. We pray that the soul takes this journey and either moves on to a new life or attain moksha. To take us through this difficult time, we pray collectively that we were able to take this journey. Past few days, the family has gone through satsang to elevate themselves through prayers, and today we continue that. Let us join together in prayers. Ishwar Stuti Prarthana Upasana. Om Vishwani Deva Savitar Duritani Parasua Yad Bhadram Tannasua Om Hiranyagarbha Samavartatagre Bhutasya Jatah Patirekāsit Saradhara Prithivim Dhyamotema Asmai Devaya Havisha Vidhema Om Ya Atmara Balara Yasya Vishwa Upasate Prashisham Yasya Devaha Yasya Chaya Amritam Yasamrityoho Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhema Om Yah Pranato Nimishato Mahitvaika Idraja Jagato Babhuva Ya Ishe Asya Dvipadash Chatushpadaha Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhema Om Yena Dyarugra Prithvi Chadridha Yena Swahastabhitam Yena Nakah Yo Antarikshe Rajaso Vimanaha Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhema Om Prajapate Natvadetanyanyo Vishwajatani Parita Babhuva Yakamaste Johomastanno Vastu Vayam Syama Patayo Rainam Om Sanno Bandhur Janita Sabvidhata Dhamani Veda Bhuvanani Vishwa Yatra Deva Amritamana Shanas Ritidha Mannadhairayanta Om Agni Naya Supathara Yasman Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidwan Yoyodhyasmajjohorana Meno Bhoishtante Namoktim विधेमा। हे सकल जगत के उत्पत्ति करता, समग्र ईश्वर युक्त शुद्ध व स्वरूप सर्व सुखों के दाता परमेश्वर, आप कृपा करके हमारे संपूर्ण दुर्गुण दुर्व्यसन और दुखों को दूर कीजिए। जो कल्याण कारक गुण कर्म स्वभाव वाले पदार्थ है, वह सब हमको प्राप्त कराइए। O God, O Creator of this universe, O radiant cause of all manifestations, remove from us all that is difficult in our path and all tendencies to break your natural laws, and bring on to us all everything that is beautiful, benevolent, and auspicious. O Agni, lead us in the path to liberation, for you know all pathways leading in that direction. Remove for us all sins that lead us astray. Again and again, we offer you words of salutation and praises. Iti Shwarastuti Prarthanupasana Prakaranam. अब सौ पदिया इस जीवन का, सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में है, हार तुम्हारे हाथों में है, जीत तुम्हारे हाथों में है, हार तुम्हारे हाथों में. I surrender into the hands all difficulties and strains in my life to you, O Lord, for I know that victory or defeat can only be had at your hands. The difference between you and I, O Lord, is that you are the master of all humans. I'm in the hands of the world, while the world rests in your hands. अब सौंप दिया इस जीवन का, सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में, सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में है, जीत तुम्हारे हाथों में है, हार तुम्हारे हाथों में है, हार तुम्हारे हाथों में. अब सौंप दिया इस जीवन का. मेरा निश्चय है एक यही, एक बार तुम्हें पा जाऊं मैं. मेरा निश्चय है एक यही, एक बार तुम्हें पा जाऊं मैं. अर्पण कर दो जगती भर का, सब प्यार तुम्हारे हाथों में, सब प्यार तुम्हारे हाथों में. अब सौंप दिया इस जीवन का. जब जब संसार का बंदी बन दरबार में तेरे आओ मैं. जब जब संसार का बंदी बन दरबार में तेरे आओ मैं. ओ मेरे कर्मों का निर्णय सरकार तुम्हारे हाथों में, सरकार तुम्हारे हाथों में. अब सौंप दिया इस जीवन का. मुझ में तुझ में है भेद यही, मैं नर हो तो नारायण है। मुझ में तुझ में है भेद यही, मैं नर हो तो नारायण है। मैं हूँ संसार के हाथों में, संसार तुम्हारे हाथों में, संसार तुम्हारे हाथों में। अब सौंप दिया इस जीवन का सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में, सब भार तुम्हारे हाथों में। है जीत तुम्हारे हाथों में, है हार तुम्हारे हाथों में, है हार तुम्हारे हाथों में, है हार तुम्हारे हाथों में। I'll invite the Kirtan group to do a bhajan while we get organized to perform the Antyeshti Sanskar, the last rites.
Gin Samagri.
Please, if you don't mind, after. Om Agnaye Swa. Om Somaya Swa. Om Lo. Om Swaha. Om Suryam Chakshur Gachatu Vatamatma. Dyam Chad Gachat Prithvim Chad Dharmana. Apo Va Gacha Yadai Tatrete Hitam. Oshade Chu Pratishtita Sharirae Swaha. Om Ajo Bhagas Tapaswa Tam Tapaswa. Tam Te Sochis Tapatu Te Archahi. Yaste Shivastanvo Jata Veras Thabir Bahainam Sukritam Ulokam Swaha. Om Avasrija Punaragni Pratibhyo Yasta Ahtushta Charati Swadhabhi Ayurvasana Upavetu Shishyaha Samgacham Tatvam Tanvajata Vedaha Swaha. Om Pari Gobhir Netva Harsha Harshano Dadidri Vikshanam Paryankayate Swaha. Om Yam Tumagni Sam Adhas Tamo Nirvipaya Punuhu Kriyambu Atra Rohatu Vyalkasha Swaha. Om Pranebhya Sadipate Kibhya Swaha. Om Prithive Swaha. Om Agnaye Swaha. Om Antarikshaya Swaha.
हवे स्वाहा ओम स्वाहा सूर्याय स्वाहा ॐ दिग्भ्यः स्वाहा ॐ चन्द्राय स्वाहा ॐ नक्षत्रेभ्यः स्वाहा ॐ अद्भ्यः स्वाहा ॐ वरुणाय स्वाहा. Our planetary environment influences our lives, and we pray that they're in that motion that propels us for positivity in our lives. Now we move on. May the organs in the body be returned to its elements. Om Nabhye Swaha. Om Bhuta. भी आपो वाचा यदि तत्र प्रतिष्ठित शरीर ओ ओ चित्पूर्वाता साता ऋता चाता ऋता वृद्धा ऋषीन् तपस्वो यमा तपोजम अपि गच्छता स्वाहा ओम तपसा ये अनादृ ये स्वयोः तपवे चक्षुरे महस् तांश्चिदे पावि गच्छतात् स्वाहा ओम ये युज सूर्य तांश्चिदे पावि ओम स्योनास्मै भवा पृथ्वी अनृक्षरा निवेशनी यचस्मै शर्मा If there are other members of the family who would like to come forward and offer ahuti at this time towards the end. O Vayuranilam Amritam Athidam Bhasmantam Shariram Om Krato Smara Klive Smara Kritam Smara Swaha Amritam Athidam Bhasmantam Shariram Om Krato Smara Klive Smara Kritam Smara Swaha Om Vairanilam Amritam Athidam Bhasmantam Shariram Om Krato Smara Klive Smara Kritam Smara Swaha. Purnahuti, completion offerings. ॐ सर्वं वै पूर्णं स्वा 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 complete. All is final. Body will be consigned to flames. Thank you all. I invite the group to proceed with a few bhajans, and then I'll pass it over to Roy to take over.
अपनी शरण में ले लो राम। मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम, ले लो राम, मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम, मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम, ले लो राम, मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम। लोचन मन में जगे न हो तो, लोचन मन में जगे न हो तो, युगल शरण में ले लो राम, ले लो राम, मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम। जीवन दे जाल बिछाया, रच की माया नाल नचाया। जीवन दे जाल बिछाया, रच की माया नाच नचाया। चिंता मेरी कभी मिटेगी, चिंता मेरी कभी मिटेगी, जब चिंतन में ले लो राम, ले लो राम, मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम। तूने लाखों पापी तारे, मेरी बारी बाजी हारे, बाजी हारे। मेरे पास ना दुनिया की कुंजी, मेरे पास ना दुनिया की कुंजी, बट पूरन में ले लो राम, ले लो राम, मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम। राम हे राम हे राम, घर घर अटकू, घर घर भटकू, कहाँ कहाँ अपना शिव भटकू। इस जीवन में मिलो न तुमको राम, हे राम। इस जीवन में मिलो न तुमको, मुझे मरण में ले लो राम, ले लो राम, मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम। लोचन मन में जगे न हो तो, लोचन मन में जगे न हो तो, युगल शरण में ले लो राम, ले लो राम, मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम, मुझे अपनी शरण में ले लो राम। दिखा दे कदम कदम पर किरण दिखा दे भगवन किरण दिखा दे कदम कदम पर किरण दिखा दे भगवन किरण दिखा दे इन यकियन को प्रभु करा दे इन यकियन को प्रभु करा दे ज्योति से पहचान ज्योति से पहचान आज मेरे जीवे हम सूरज चंद्रमा के जो है संतान तुम्हारे प्रभु संतान तुम्हारे जो है संतान तुम्हारे प्रभु संतान तुम्हारे तेरी दया के हमारे भिखारी हमरे हमारे भिखारी तेरी दया के हमारे भिखारी हमरे हमारे भिखारी दुनिया होए सुखी हमारी दुनिया होए सुखी हमारी ऐसा दे भगवान ऐसा दे भगवान आज तेरे विलय हमारे किसान राम सूरज चंद्रमा तेरे भगवान आज तेरे विलय हमारे किसान राम सूरज चंद्रमा तेरे भगवान दुख दूर कर हमारा संसार देखिया दुख दूर कर हमारा संसार Christmas जगते हे कारण लोग अब दीहल हूँ मने तुझे हरि राम सिया राम Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Thank you, Pandit Balaram, and thank you, Pandit Naresh. Thank you to our musicians and everyone who sang here today. All right, thank you all for being here to celebrate the fascinating life of Mr. Harry Singh. My name is Roy Mulchand. I'm the second grandchild, and it's my honor to coordinate the speakers on this auspicious occasion. For those of you that knew my Nana, he always used to say auspicious, and what that means is it means marked by success. And that's definitely something we can say with the life that we're celebrating today. He got a chance to travel to many countries and go on many cruises and visit many people and lived a very wonderful life. Our first speaker that we have today is near and dear to Mr. Singh and the family, and even more so by way of the Manitoba Arya Samaj. So I'd like to ask Mr. Balabir Saw to share a few words with us.
Eulogy, Master of Ceremony, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of my family and I, and all the members of the Manitoba Arya Samaj, to convey our sincere condolences to the Mr. Singh's family on the passing of Bhai Hari Singh. I sometimes address him as Bhai Hari because he is like an elder brother to me. What I'm going to say today will reflect briefly, mostly during the time we spend with the Manitoba Arya Samaj. The Manitoba Arya Samaj is a Hindu religious body. I would like to take this opportunity also to mention that Bhai Hari Singh and his family, when they came to Canada in the mid-70s and take up residence here in Winnipeg, Mr. Singh became one of the founding members of the Manitoba Arya Samaj. He had been at the helm of this organization since it was founded in 1981 and had been the only president from then until 2002, when he decided not to seek re-election. That is 21 consecutive years as president. He served the Samaj with integrity and excellent leadership. During his leadership, the Samaj became a registered corporation in 1983, and in 1999, it became a registered charitable organization, giving it equal status as any other religious bodies. Hari Singh loved music. Playing the harmonium and singing bhajans were among his top priorities. I remember when he encouraged me to join him to play the harmonium. There were classes held at the University of Manitoba by Mr. Amjad Sabir. So we decided we will take part in the classes. We had a few classes with Mr. Sabir. I had to get myself a harmonium because we had to do a lot of practices at home. I practice as much as I can in my leisure time. But the most thing I can do was go with the key of it, but I never get increase my playing on the harmonium. So actually what I did, I put it away and I gave up on it. I was trying to impress by Harry, but it wasn't enough. No. Yeah. But by Harry playing, skill improved a lot, which he promptly made him sing and play harmonium regularly at the Hindu temple. During this time, at the Manitoba Arya Samaj, our Pandit Rajpal, he was a licensed priest, and he served for 26 years with the Arya Samaj. until he retired and moved to Toronto with his family. This is when Bhai Hari Singh accepted the huge responsibility to become the Arya Samaj licensed priest so as to maintain the Samaj status as a religious organization. He was very actively involved with the Gandhis Association and other groups. During Flokarama, he was with the Indo-Tropical Parties Pavilion as one of its coordinators. He was definitely one of the leaders of the Guyanese community. Bhai Hari was a person of high moral and religious values. And he's a strong advocate for Hindu customs and traditions. He played a valuable role and has been a source of inspiration for us at the Arya Samaj Temple. He was a very caring person, not only for his own family, but for others also. I know he will be dearly missed, but in our hearts, his memory will live on. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Ball. I remember when we were young, we used to play tricks mainly on Rajesh because he was very excitable, and we tried to get Nana in on the excitement. And as Uncle Ball was saying, he's someone of immense character and morals, and Nana wouldn't lie, so we have to trick Nana uh, to do things or to get Nana out so that we can play tricks on Raj. Nalini was involved, but she was easily swayed with that. Um, so again, thank you, Uncle Ball, and thank you all the members of the Arya Samaj that you represent here, that we're here today. Next, I'd like to call upon Ms. Vijaya Maktoum and Ms. Geeta Delegado, nieces of Mr. Singh, to share some memories and thoughts.
Thanks, Roy. Namaste. Namaste. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Good afternoon. Dear friends and family, Harripersad, Harry, Dad, Mamu, Uncle Harry. Just as he has so many names by which he's known, so too are the many qualities for which he will always be remembered. We are here today, the daughters of two of his sisters, to speak about this genuine man who meant so much to so many for so long, especially to the members of the Ramruti Singh branch of the family tree. His three surviving sisters have sent these messages to him. Sister Dolly, my dear brother, rest peacefully. You were the best brother. I'll remember you and keep you in my heart always. Namaste. Sister Prem, Dad was the best brother in the whole world, and I love him very much. He will be terribly missed. Namaste. Sister Jean, to my dearest brother, I'm extremely sorry not to be there to say a final goodbye to you, but I will be eternally grateful to you for making sure my schoolwork was done properly. I enjoyed my school. Our thoughts and prayers are with you and will remain forever. Much love from Jean and Eddie. Om Shanti, 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 Namaste. His nieces and nephews are all in agreement that he had nothing but positive impact on all our lives. We all remember his love of telling stories, as only he could. No matter how many times we heard the very same story, we loved every one of them. He would laugh at his own jokes, and he had a great laugh too. He was the life of the party.
He indulged us even when our parents would not approve. Had had one of us at the age of 13 drive his car at 63 Beach only to stop him as they were leaving the beach to get to the public road. He gave another one her first drink of hard liquor at his house. We could never get into trouble with our parents when he was around. He was generous with his time and wisdom, not always in a way that parents would approve of, but he did it anyway. You see, as the only brother among six sisters, he did no wrong, even when he was clearly wrong. Mammy, you can attest to that. Speaking of the six sisters, there is a story of him as a young child who pretended to be too tired to walk to and from school. So, one sister, her mom, carried the book bags, and another sister, my mom, would piggyback him all the way back and forth. One of the sisters in England said, when he got home, he changed out of his uniform and he was full of life and energy to go play. So, another story floating around has to do with a certain young man who had a car when that was considered the ultimate luxury. Of that car being pushed down the dam, then started out of his parents' hearing, and the clock being turned back by some sisters when he came home late. Yes, he was spoiled. He was devoted to his family, both immediate and extended, and made sure we all felt that. Both him and Mammy have always been accepting of anyone and everyone who we showed up with at their door. Boyfriends, girlfriends, friends, no one ever felt like an intruder. Prashad Nagar House was never off limits. Thank you, Mommy. One example of his deep dedication to and caring of his family is his response when our grandparents had been victims of a home invasion and were physically harmed. He immediately rounded up his police contacts in Georgetown, rushed to Crabwood Creek to take care of his parents, and cut the thieves before the local police could. His kindness and compassion, his helpful guidance, his attentive ears, his overall love of life and caring of family were felt by all of us who got the privilege to call him brother and uncle. He was the uncle of uncles, father figure for some of us, very respected by and in turn respectful of us. Great to be around, never judged us, and one who has left us memories we will love and cherish forever. Rest in peace, Manu. Namaste.
Thank you, Auntie Gita. Thank you, Auntie Vijay. The heights of great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, for they, while their companions slept, were toiling onwards through the night. That was something that Nana would say, and that my mother would say, and that actually everyone in the family would say. And it didn't really have much impact until the night was near and until the deadlines were looming and when the motivation was failing. You'd hear Nana say that. And that's what got me through some of my nights. Some of them didn't get through anything, but our next speaker is also a man with many proverbs and experiences and stories, and a wonderful storyteller and a great family friend. Please welcome Mr. Fazal Bacchus to the stand, please. Thank you.
Gee, I pulled out from my pocket and I got a photograph. Well, that was deliberately done just to for me to gain my confidence here. Well, hello everyone, and as Harry would have liked to be greeted, Namaste. We've gathered here today to say farewell to Harry Singh, one of the stalwarts of the Guyanese and West Indian communities of Winnipeg. He has lent his leadership skills to many community organizations and was well liked and respected by all. He was a kind and friendly man who had a knack for putting us at ease and making us laugh. I first met Harry in 1964 in Georgetown, Guyana. I remember that meeting, and every time I recall it, I smile. I wouldn't elaborate on that. Our paths crossed on several other occasions in Guyana, but we became friends when we met again in Winnipeg about 50 years ago. He and Pat were part of a group of close friends who cared for and respected each other. Our families became brothers and sisters. As a matter of fact, we were really close. Our families, we celebrated birthdays and anniversaries. I'm getting old. We celebrated birthdays and anniversaries, weekend picnics together. As a matter of fact, if anyone dropped a hat, we had a celebration. We were happy to be able to celebrate his 94th birthday with him recently. Not nearly as grand as his 80th, when nearly 40 of us gathered in Punta Cana to celebrate. We all had a great time, except we had many vacations together. We had Caribbean cruises, Mediterranean cruises, visited most of the states in the US. Of course, Vegas was a three-peat. We toured Canada from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Each of those vacations had its own stories, from pleading our way out of a speeding ticket in Michigan to being the guests at a live taping of the Howie Mandel show in Hollywood, California. Mal was supposed to have taped that. Where is it? I haven't seen it. On one trip through Nova Scotia, we crossed on the Catamaran ferry from Yarmouth to Bar Harbor, Maine. We bought our duty-free tequila, which was to be declared on our arrival in Maine. Well, Harry, with his negotiating skills and his skills of persuasion, was able to get shot glasses and salt from the bar right on the boat. Well, needless to say, when we arrived in Maine, we had nothing to declare. Harry, we will miss your presence, but the memories you have left with us will stay with us for a long time. I know your name will be mentioned whenever we get together. We recognize that death is inevitable in life. And from our old gang, Nisha, Shaq, Juliet, Dick, Hafiz, Randy, and now Harry have passed. But please remember that the rest of the old gang, Sam, Ramesh, Dudi, Leela, Rakim, Maggie, Farida, and myself, and our families are here for you and your family. We all share your grief and extend our sympathies. My family and I extend our heartfelt condolences to you and your children, grandchildren, great-grands, as you mourn your loss. On behalf of all of us, we bid farewell to our uncle, our friend, our brother, Harry Singh. He had a good life. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Fazil. I don't know what happened to the microphone here, but it's in a new position. Mr. Singh was blessed with a lovely wife for more than 68 years. And together they had 4 children, which we'll meet shortly. And from them, we have 7 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. And I would like to ask the grandchildren to come up and say a few words to their Aja and to their Nana. First, Miss Angelica Kovacevic, Mr. Chad Mulchand, Mr. Krish Mulchand, right? Miss Jaya Singh, Mr. Avinash Singh, sorry, Master Avinash Singh, Miss Ria Singh, and Miss Amin Mulchand. And Mr. Kane Mulchand was not able to attend, but did get a chance to chat with Nana and say his respects as well.
Namaste, Pandit. Good afternoon. I am the first grandchild, which means I am number 1. Also, I was the only granddaughter for 29 years. Exactly 5 kilometers or 3.11 miles away from here, I met my Nana. I was on time. He was in his 50th year of life. And on that day, it was minus 11 Celsius. Due to inclement weather in another part of the province, he was the first man I ever met. Because he was there on the first day that I came into this world, he was off the hook to be present for any other occasion in my life. When I was 8, he taught me to play the harmonium, and like Uncle Ball said, he loved music. In fact, he loved it so much that after a few adult beverages at Uncle Bansy's house, he decided that he could sing just like Bruce Hornsby, and there was a song playing on the radio, and he decided he's gonna belt it out all the way home. Let me tell you, my nanny was not impressed. When I turned 18, he also made sure that he bought me my first shot of hard liquor that he paid for. Not because it was my first shot of liquor. Later on, he promptly sent me home on Christmas morning to retrieve what he called the square bottle. When I returned to his house 15 minutes later, Nana told me that this product needed to be tested before it can be served to the public. Once again, my nanny was not impressed that Nana and I were shooting tequila in the kitchen by ourselves, and it wasn't even 11 a.m. My Nana was in his 95th year when he passed away. And by far, the best thing that he taught me was how to live in service. He led by example, because service to many leads to greatness. To my Nana, I love you. Auntie Lolita told me this morning that I will be all right. So Nana, I will be all right. You told us that nothing happens before it's time, so this is your time. I don't want to say thank you for everything.
Hey, everyone. I know I know Harry as Nana and my grandmother's nanny. My Nana gave me a lot of things in life. He taught me how to negotiate like nobody else could. He showed me how to be principled and honest and kind. He taught me how to appeal to people's humanity. And he did that with help me buy a car. I still have that car today. It's about 30 years old. We went out to go and see this 91 Honda Civic. And honestly, I thought it was a great deal. I was like, man, we just gotta get it. And he's like, well, you know, look, let me talk to the boy and let me see, maybe he'll come down a little bit. I was like, well, it's a good deal. This guy wouldn't budge. For about 30 minutes, Nana was just talking and talking to him. And then I just watched him appeal to this person's humanity. And it taught me something really deep that day. Nana says to the man, this is my grandson. Do you think you could come down just a little bit? And the guy says, I've got a good car. It's, low mileage. It's priced right. And my Nana looked at him and says, do you have a grandfather? Well, this is my grandson. Does your grandfather want you to do well in life? Because I want my grandson to do well in life. So if you only come down about $200, I can help my grandson be on his way. And my Nana just kept explaining and appealing to his humanity, and this guy came down. My grandfather was an extremely principled and honest person. I think I identify with him more than anyone else in the world. I'll miss him very deeply. He passed on a lot of things to me. Like Mr. Ball, he taught me how to play harmonium. He actually gave me a harmonium, so I didn't have to go buy my own. He taught me how to negotiate. And he also passed on this male pattern baldness that none of my other siblings got. Thanks, Nana. Nana, I'll miss you dearly. You were such a kind person to me. You never sought to control me. You only enabled me to do so many things. And I'm so grateful to you. Namaste, Nana.
Thank you, everyone. Just want to start off by saying a few things about Nana with a few Nana-isms, if I may. Nana always had these ways of saying things and really spoke to the occasion. I can recall a few times where Nana would call and say, Krish, I need a hand with something. Do you have time today? Yes, Nana, of course, I'll be right over. So I head over and he'll say, we have this project to do. Let's get the tools ready. But first, empty bag can't stand. So that means we have to have something to eat before we go do some work. So he'd always make sure that we had something to eat before we did things. And it was something that we'd always do. And before we'd start any work, measure twice, God once, right? Everyone knows that one. Nothing comes before its time. A bird in hand is worth. See, I feel like it keeps exaggerating and expanding, and everyone gets their own version of it. Many hands make light work. As everyone says, Nana liked to negotiate. Nana liked to buy things. Nana liked to get a good deal. Helped Chad buy his first car, and I think we all got the gift of negotiation from Nana and the way he was with his words. Very charismatic, very soft-spoken. But if you thought you could get away from that negotiation with Nana, there's no chance. Chad's bought a few cars. Roy's bought a few cars. I think the gifts that Nana has given me, I'm responsible for selling over thousands and thousands of cars, and it's been a lot of fun. Nana will stay with me forever. He'll be a part of everything I do. He's responsible for so much that I am today. Forever grateful for the guidance, the lessons, the direction. Nana led best by example. And for all of us, I would say it's the best example we could ask for. He gave us respect without condition. He taught us persuasion with patience. He showed us how to be problem solvers. He always managed to find an easier, more efficient way to do things. Even if it was very complex to get there, if he could save one step, he was very proud about it. I don't know if anyone's been to the house and noticed the garage door button on the inside of the house. So Nana installed a garage door button on the inside of the garage so that he could open the garage door from inside the house without opening the garage to let any cold air in the house, so that he could raise the door up 3/4 of the way so that he could remote start his car. And he'd be very proud every time he'd show you. He could start the car without letting any cold air in the house. Many, many steps to make this happen, but very creative. One nice story I'm just remembering now. Dad had this boat, canoe that we had, aluminum boat, and Nana came to Gillam one time, and we decided to paint the boat. So we painted the boat green, and then we proceeded to sell that boat to my dad as a brand new boat. And we had a good laugh with that. But Nana, I want to say thank you for all the lessons. Thank you for the direction. And on behalf of my wife, Nadine, Kane, Nana's only great-grandson, we just want to say namaste, Nana.
Namaste, everyone. When we used to spend nights over at Aji and Aja's house, we would watch Bollywood movies together while having lots of snacks. Those were the best of times, and those amazing moments will be cherished in my heart forever. Aja would also come to my birthdays at our house to celebrate with us. I remember his wonderful smiles and laughter, which gave me so much joy every day. Aja has always given me hope for the future, and with that feeling, I will never give up no matter what. I am glad to have spent this part of my life growing up around him, and that he will always remain close to my heart. Namaste, Aja. Thank you.
Namaste, everyone. Even though I wasn't able to see my Aja when he was in his prime years, I've heard many great stories about him, and he has left a great impression on me in the short time I've been around him. Another notable thing I have to say is that he taught me the mealtime prayer, which I now recite every time I eat food during breakfast, dinner, and lunch. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone. Before COVID, I used to visit my Aja's house every school day at lunch, just to eat lunch after school. And I talked to him. I feel that I'm very fortunate that I was able to see him and say hi the day he passed. And I will miss him very much. Namaste, Aja.
Nana, I love you and I miss you.
Thanks to the grandchildren and the great-grand. Nanny and Nana, they used to like, well, they still like going to the casino. And I remember one time they were in Toronto and Woodbine, and they called me up. I was in university in Kingston at the time. They said, why don't you come over and meet us at the casino? So I took a drive. I used to stay by Antigita a lot, so went and passed by, and we went and saw them, and they were playing some slots, and I was playing at one of the poker tables, and Nana happened to walk by. I said, Nana, pull up a chair. I slid over some chips, and he started playing, and then Nana all of a sudden doubled up his money, right? And then he tripled up, and then he quadrupled up. He says, you know what, Roy? I think I'm going to stop here. I said, okay, Nana. And I took my $20 back, and I gave him the, he says, no, you keep it. And I said, no, Nana, you won the money, you made it. And then he stops, he says, and what if I lost it? And then I said, but then you would owe me some money. He took his winnings and, and left. Oh. Okay. As we're coming to near the end of our formal speeches, I'd like to call upon some of the immediate family. And first off, I want to call on the two youngest daughters of Mr. Harry and Mrs. Pat Singh to share their thoughts and some stories with us. Miss Malini Singh and Miss Savita Das. It's a catchy tune.
Namaste, Pandit. Namaste, everyone, friends and family. Thank you for coming today. Dad, you are exceptional. Not only for the guidance and lessons you've instilled throughout my life, lessons like prevention is better than cure, cut once, measure twice, or my personal favorite, and one I've heard a lot, if rain can't fill the barrel whole year, dew can't fill it overnight. We immigrated to Canada, to Winnipeg specifically, when I was 3. My brother and I always relish in the completely different lives we've led compared to my sisters who spent their entire childhoods in Guyana. We often joke we have completely different set of parents than Sav and Cav. Dad made a life for us here. We never had any need for want. The 4 of us traveled together either on long road trips or by plane, excuse me, together every year. We had dinner together every evening, whether it was Friday nights at the Italian restaurant on Pembina, Mother's Pizza, if anyone remembers, or at our kitchen table. My dad drove me to school every single day. He never let me walk. He even drove my pack of my 6 to 8 friends most mornings. He instilled humility, religion, and compassion in our upbringing. Dad is a perfect example of an incredible role model, not only as a parent, but as a husband. He loved my mother dearly. They were always at functions together, parties, family events. They were always holding hands, and they always cared for each other above anyone else. My mother's testament to this love can be seen in her will to ensure Dad had proper care every day of his life, more so during the last several years in his decline. Mom had a specific way to prepare food for Dad, specific way to prepare the vegetables. She had to make sure they were cut a specific way, they had to be blended a specific way, and they had to be a certain amount of each to make sure that it was exactly the way that she wanted it to sustain Dad. Mom is the real and the only reason that Dad has lived to the incredible age of 94. In Winnipeg, we had few family members for us, but Mom and Dad ensured that they made a family here with all of their close friends, and we became quite close to the families of Uncle Fazil, Uncle Sam, Uncle Shax, Uncle Duty, Uncle Dick, Uncle Rakim, and so many others. Dad created such a strong sense of family for us that we were always felt included and loved. And by that, we had so many additional family members and cousins. Dad was a truly remarkable father. You often hear of daughters speak of father-daughter special bonds. I am no exception. Dad was a man of few words. I could look at him and know exactly what he was referring to. Sometimes he would point to something and I would know exactly what he meant. Whether it be pass me that Bhajan book, start the car, get to your room and study, or get more ice. Dad always had endearing made-up call names for everyone. And later on, even up to a few weeks ago,
I would refer to the smoker, and he would know exactly who I was referring to. And give me the sweetest little side smile that he had. I want to thank some people. I want to thank two of my dad's favorites. His favorite daughter-in-law, Sushi. She has always been there for my parents, supporting mom and dad daily with shopping, cooking, and uplifting visits. The last time dad drove was to take Sushi and Avinash to a doctor's appointment. Thank you to Suresh, dad's favorite son-in-law, who would run over at a moment's notice to build a wheelchair ramp, to cut down a tree, anything. You were always there. Oh, cook-up rice, yes. Thank you for the cook-up rice. Both of you have had incredible impact on the lives of our parents, and I'm forever grateful to both of you. And to all of you that are here today, we are forever grateful for the sympathy and love that you have given our family. Thank you for the kind words, the flowers, the food, the support. It's meant the world to all of us. Thank you to Thompson in the Park and Aaron especially. Thank you to Pandit Naresh and this wonderful Kirtan group today. I would be remiss if I did not speak about the WRHA, the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority. For the last 10 years, the home care team that provided don't correct me, the utmost care and daily support to Dad. And for that, I sincerely thank Robert, Jeremiah, Joseph, Nicholas, Clement, and Choi for their immeasurable support you have given to my dad. And they're sitting right there. More so to Mom, who always had a friendly face every day and someone to ease her worries and give her sound advice while always concerned about Dad's decline. To these gentlemen, I will forever be grateful. Over time, they've become family to us, and they would go over and beyond for Dad, and we truly appreciate all of you. I am fortunate to have a dad who is surrounded by 6 strong women, Dad's sisters who taught him that it was acceptable to be an independent and assertive woman, especially in a time when this was looked down upon. Dad, you married the most incredible person in Mom. Both of you gave me the strength that enabled me to go forth in this world and forge my own path as my own person. You are an exceptional example of what a father should be, and I'm proud to call you my own and privileged to be Harry's daughter. You have been extremely patient with me, and for that, I am more grateful than you could ever know. I don't know how long it will take me to grieve this tremendous loss. My father is the love of my life. And his memories will forever be ingrained within us.
I was the smoker, by the way. I came for Christmas and spent 1 month with Mom and Dad and had a lovely visit. As I was getting ready to leave, I was saying goodbye to Dad, and one night I told him that if he was ready to go, it's okay, I will completely understand. He was looking at me in deep thought. As I was leaving his room, I turned back and I said, "Oh, Dad, just remember not to go between the dates of February 4th and February 11th, as Mal and I will be in Mexico on the beach. And this would not be a very convenient time." He looked at me and I asked him, "You got that, Dad?" He replied, "Yes. I guess you decided that you were not going with us to Mexico, so you left instead. But Dad always got what he wanted from us girls. He just had to give us the look, and we knew exactly what we had to do. When I was a little girl, I was told that I was extremely spoiled. I'm not sure where people got that from. I just demanded what I wanted, and I got it most of the time. I challenged him, and I was also known as the little rebel. Dad would put me on his shoulders and off we went to wherever he was going, that I insisted that I also need to be there. Um, 10 years later, I was forced to give up my place as a daddy's spoiled child because Raj came along. And then Malini came along and I got a little pushed out. I was very, very sad. Dad, I love you very, very much. And I thank you for shaping me into the strong, independent woman that I've become. Thank you so much for choosing me to be one of your daughters. And I'm extremely grateful that you are my dad. I love you and will miss you terribly. Until we meet again, but not too soon.
Thank you, Hans, for your strength today. Next, I'd like to call up on the eldest child and daughter of Mr. Singh here, my mother, Mrs. Kavita Molchand, and her husband, my father, Mr. Suresh Molchand, to share some thoughts with us today.
Can I turn this? Oh. My name is Suresh Molchand, and before this ceremony is over, there's something I have to do. My mother is here, Shyamdev, and my sisters and brothers are all here, and they're my extended family, my nieces and nephew, my children and grandchildren, and all the friends we have here. But I was reminded that I never asked for his daughter's hand in marriage. I better do it now. So, Harry, Pa, I would like to take this opportunity to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage. And if everybody have any objection for this, I mean, if you have any objection, just hold yours. Speak now or forever hold your peace. In Latin, it says silentum. It means silence. And I take his silence as approval. There's lots of stuff I have to say about him. And he's a man who shares many faiths. And one day he told me, I have lots of friends of different faith, but we share the same spirit. Johnny Walker, Black Label. I spent lots of time with him and in the early days in 1970, 71, and I happened to meet a young lady who was swimming in the pool at Enmore Estate. And I was working there, and I saw these girls sitting. I better go and check out what's happening there. So I went there and asked them, please get out of the pool. I have to do some work in the pool equipment. And there was one particular young lady said, if you want me to come out from this pool, you better come in and get me. And she's here. I remember sometimes, he has this way of speaking to people. And, he gave me a few words of wisdom. And one time I don't know what happened. It was Uncle Ball and Rakim or Uncle Babs. And we were having a few drinks. And the next morning, maybe I didn't get up on time. And he told me, if you want to soar with the eagles, you better start hooting with the owls. And I said, well, this is a profound statement. I better find out what the meaning of this. He says, when you want to learn to drink, you want to run with the big dogs. Stop barking like a puppy. He's never very harsh at me at times, but it meant when you're drinking, drink half the shot. And I took that in consideration so I can drink a lot like him. There are many things I want to say, but I won't at this time. I will share it afterwards. I remember one time he brought all his friends. He trusted us so much when we moved away, 12 hours from Winnipeg. And he brought Uncle Rakim and Fazil and Maggie and all those people there. And and plus his two sisters from London. We call them the Queens. And they had this accent. So my neighbor who was run the RCMP says, "Who are these ladies?" I said, "They're the Queens from England." And he said, "They sure act like it." And then he says, "They don't drink." I said, "No, not very much." He said, "There's 19 bottles of wine is finished and they don't drink." I said, "Yeah." So we went on and we said, "Well, we'll take them for a ride on the snow machine." And there's 200 kilometers of frozen ice in Gillam. And Uncle B was there. And he said to them, "Let's go." And Uncle Fazil was there. And Uncle Fazil has been a surveyor. He surveyed all these northern country, north of the 53rd parallel. And I said, this man, if he has surveyor, he is a leader. And then we went on the snow machine, and when we go on the ice, nobody wants to go on the snow machine. And then Uncle B, I coaxed him and then said, "Uncle Fazil, you better." He says, "No, I kind of worry about this ice. There's open water." I says, "There's 5 feet of ice here." My father-in-law became a leader. He says, "I will go on." And then his feet was trembling. So anyway, we went onto the ice. And when the Uncle B got there, he says, "Oh, Suresh, my heart is fluttering." And I says, "What's wrong?" He says, "I have a pacemaker in my heart." And then my father says, "He's full of shit." That's the way he speaks, right? He says, "Give him a brandy, he'll be okay." Went in the cabin, we started a fire, gave him a brandy, and next thing, Uncle B was okay, and he's riding the RCMP snow machine, and he was very, very happy. I think my father had friends of all ages, and my nephew came back from Ghana, he's 3 years old, and he says, "Nev, are you going to have a drink?" Nev says, "Uncle Harry, I quit drinking."
No, me stop drink.
Me stop drink. Me not drink rum anymore. 3 years old. So that was my father-in-law. Thank you very much.
Namaste, everybody. Dad's life was a love story. Sometimes when we're partying later, I should say when he's partying and I'm still a child, I would hear the music and the drumming on the table. Chalo ek baar fir se ajnabi ban jaye hum dono. A friend of mine from India told me that this song means, "Let us become stranger again," so that I could feel the way I felt when I first met you. When a child does something wrong, usually a parent could get very perturbed, but not Dad. I don't remember ever being disciplined in a negative way by Dad. Him and I were in the car, he was driving. Kavi, it is highly improper to ask a boy out. Dad, I already asked him and he already said yes. Oh, that was my high school graduation. Mr. Sitaran Premsuk was the driver. And this is the boy. Dad loved his cars, and he used to import some of them from the UK. Him and Uncle B were in cahoots. I used to keep a diary as a child, and I have every single license plate number. But the one car that I was missing, that Denny alluded to the other night, was the maroon Morris that was either 1948 or 1949. And Denny said the license plate a couple nights ago. And I said, wow, I've been asking for that for you know how long? P8195. I learned to drive. I was 13 or younger with Dad. PX800, PZ44. You guys will remember or not. But even though I stalled the car at the Rosignol ferry station, he didn't have words with me because he lost his spot in the line. He had words with the late Mr. Shakur for jumping the line in front of us. They realized then that they knew each other from the sounds of their voices, that they used to talk on the phone for business. And they became great friends from that moment on. I told Dad I would sing a song. So here it is. Lag ja gali ke fir ye hasi raat ho na ho shayad fir is janam mein मुलाकात हो न हो लग जा गली है Let me embrace you and hug you, because who knows if this might be the last time. I sang it for him when he was in his room one day, and I went over and we spent time when he has dinner with me. I would hold his legs and we would dance. And he would smile, and we would talk about people we remembered from Guyana and different situations. And he always smiled. You remember? Mm-hmm. You're in the arms of an angel. Fly away from here, from this dark, cold hotel room and the endlessness that you feel. You are pulled from the wreckage of your silent reverie. You're in the arms of an angel. May you find some comfort there. Before we came to Canada, Dad and Mom had a meeting at immigration. Cav had just turned 18. They told him that the family can come, but I had to apply on my own. And Dad said, I don't understand what you mean. I'm not leaving without her. And the immigration officer pulled him aside and said, do you know how long this process is? Do you know how long it takes for people to get status to come to Canada? He said, I know, but you might as well tear up the papers now because I'm not leaving without her. Do you know his negotiation skills again? That man signed the paper. I don't know if anybody's supposed to know this, but I didn't know it at the time. I knew it about a year after I got married, when Mom said to me, you know, you weren't supposed to come. And I said, what? And then Mom and Dad told me. There was a time I had surgery and I was in the room that he was in last. And I'm in so much pain, and my family is back home in Giloma, the kids and my husband, and I miss them so much. Without a word, Dad brings the harmonium in, puts it on the floor, and he proceeds to sing her bhajan. I sobbed then, and I will miss you so, Dad. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.
I forgot to say something. To my mother-in-law, I want some of that secret soup that you kept my father-in-law for a life such a long time. And your persistence and making sure he doesn't leave that house to go end any care, any palliative care. You were such an instrumental person, and I thank you very much. We better freeze it. Thank you all.
So Mrs. Kavita Mulchand is an illegal alien with falsified documents in Canada. And with my position with the Department of Defense, we have to remove you. Thank you very much, Mom. Thank you very much, Dad. Okay, well, to finalize our program today, we have a gentleman that we've all been waiting for. Today is much preparation and much care has gone on with him and his family, and being in the proximity he does have to Nana, to Mr. Harry Singh. He was there in the final days, in the final years. And to deliver the eulogy, please welcome the son of Mr. Harry Singh and Mrs. Pat Singh, Mr. Rajesh Singh.
Master of Ceremonies, Roy. Namaste, Pandit. Family, overseas, near and far. Close friends, members of the Samaj, ladies and gentlemen. Kabi, Sabi, Mal, and Mom. Harripersad Singh, husband, dad, Nana, Aja, Mamu, Uncle R, HP, and many knew him as Harry. He was born to Ramrati and Ramday Singh in Crowwood Creek, Barbies, January 19th, 1929. The fourth of 7 children and the only boy. His older sisters, known as Did, Kala, and Sahodra, used to call him Tetar Betar, which means 3 sisters in front and 3 sisters behind. I remember poor Did used to say that Harry and Kala were the talkers of the family because they liked to public speak so much. Little did she know that speaking well and with confidence would catapult him to so many wonderful opportunities in his life. And as a result, he had a wonderful life, a life filled with excitement and adventure, as you've heard from many of the other speakers already. Harry attended Crabwood Creek School, primary school, and thereafter the Canadian Brethren Lutheran Church in Skeldon. Who would have thought he would end up in Winnipeg, in Canada? Harry's school days were spent happily, learning, making friends, and doing his duties as a son. He used to walk several miles to and from school. Every day he would do this with his sisters and, of course, other friends from the village. I imagine he honed his public speaking skills on those long walks, as he did recall to me some years later. Of course, he eventually got a bicycle. I think he recalled it was 10 or 11 miles each way, but he might have been embellishing a little bit. Because I did that walk when I was in Guyana several years ago. It wasn't that far to me, but then I was younger. Upon returning home from school every day, he would go out to play with his sisters. Of course, they would have to do their homework first, and then they would be able to go outside and play in the garden near their home. Education was paramount for the Singh family. And he couldn't go outside to play unless he came between first and fourth in his class. Of course, this gave him an aptitude for learning and accepting new ideas. He used to always say, Raj, intelligence is not what you know. It's the ability to find out what you don't know fast. And yes, he was fast. He was a very witty thinker, a quick thinker. He was known for his wit and intellectual jokes. I can remember, and I remember right now, so many of those Balgobin jokes that Dad used to say. And you could say it over and over, the same joke, and make people laugh again and again. He had a way to do that. And he was always very jovial about that. Harry's parents had a grocery shop, a grocery supply shop, and this afforded them some luxuries. One of which was, and you've heard it before, I believe my sister mentioned it, he was the first to have a car in Crabwood Creek. Of course, he was born in 1929. So cars were a new thing back then, and not many people had them. And he was the first in his village to have one. And I didn't know this at the time. But when he took me to buy my first car, like you've heard from some of his grandchildren, it gave him a feeling, or that same feeling again. And he iterated that to me when he took me to buy my first car. How his father took him to Georgetown. And it was a special thing to buy this car. They got the car, he drove it back, how he felt to drive it for the first time, how proud he felt. And then, of course, when he got it back to Crabwood Creek, they were able to take all the family on long trips or distant trips, trips that took were a long way. I believe that car was a Mars Minor, and you may have seen it in the slideshow. I'm not sure if they have it there or not. After finishing high school with distinctions in most or I think all of his subjects, I did see his report card from then, and it had 7 distinctions on it. And I think he took 7 or 8 courses. And I didn't know this until recently. In conversations with my father, on those long walks to school, to and fro, him and his friends would discuss the subjects. And he wrote an exam of a course that he wasn't taking because of the conversation he had with his friends. They were discussing the questions. What kind of question you're going to get on this test or this exam? And he passed. That was the kind of guy he was, I guess. Or the group of friends that he had around him. My father was a jovial man. And as such, he made friends, and he made many friends. One of which was a gentleman named Jimmy Singh, an up-and-coming police officer in Guyana, in the Guyanese police force. And Jimmy Singh hailed from a family of 11 children. One of those siblings, a beautiful, intelligent, and strong-minded young lady named Lakwati, also known as Pat or Smitty or Auntie Data to many. Upon seeing her, he aspired to meet and marry her. Only one thing, in those days, marriages were arranged. And when I asked him later on, I says, Dad, how did you get married to my mom if all this was arranged? He says, yes, Raj, it was arranged. I arranged it. Dad brought his parents to my mom's parents, and they fixed the wedding date. They were married on January 1st, 1955. 26 Cumming Street, Albertown, Georgetown. And I understand that that was one of the weddings, or one of the first weddings in Guyana that had fireworks. I don't want to say it was illegal at the time, but fireworks were not easily obtained in Guyana. But my mother's father, my father's father-in-law, was a previous overseer, a village overseer in the village they came from, which was Sanssouci Wakenam. And he had a lot of connections. And he was able to obtain a lot of these squibs and big fireworks. And they had fireworks like you wouldn't believe on January 1st, 1955. And it was a night wedding, so it was beautiful. And I understand that it was also one of the largest weddings in Georgetown. While still living in Crowwood Creek, they had their first child, as you've heard, Kavita. Actually, her name is Swadeshna, also known as Kavita. And then 3 years later, Savita. And then, of course, 10 years later, myself. They had to continue until they got a boy. And then 4 years later, Yogita, also known as Malini. He gave us, as you've heard already, Dad gave us a lot of love and care, as a father should. And he kindled special relationships with each and every one of us in an empowering way, never commanding, but advising. He had a way of making a suggestion that would lead you to your decision. He really had a way of relating to people on a very personal level. And I remember, and I think Kavita mentioned this in her talk, when we would get together, the four of us, my three sisters and I, we'd talk about our parents, and specifically Dad. And Kavi and Savi would say to us, well, that's not our father. And Malini and I said, what do you mean? It's our parents. And I guess he related to us on a very personal level that was so different and tailored to each one of us that he made us feel unique and special in our own way. Or perhaps it had something to do with being raised in Georgetown as opposed to Winnipeg. After a short while, Harry moved his family to Georgetown, and he now is working for a company called Brody and Rayner. Some of you may recall that company's name. They were quite big in Georgetown. Things were proceeding well when he met a Mr. Peter DeGar, who offered him a job at Thirst Park, Banks DIH. There, Mr. Singh was now the manager in charge of the entire warehouse and became the buyer for DIH. We as children remember going there to visit him. I can't remember if it was after school or during school or whatever it was, but we used to go there and visit him. And his second in charge at the time, Mr. Michael Pereira, used to take us up to the top of the tower at DIH. And from there, you could see the clock at Starbuck Market. It was a treat for me, especially, because I used to love to go up there. I used to get the breeze coming in from the trade wind breezes coming in. And you used to feel that heat on one side of your face and the breeze on the other side of my face. And of course, we would go up there and play a little bit, and then we would come back down. Obviously, we work with Banks DIH, we get soft drinks. At that time, they had Demico House in the compound. So we used to go to Demico House, and we could get ice cream and milkshakes as well. His contribution there was so remarkable and well respected. And this is without a word of lie, ladies and gentlemen. When I was last in Guyana 4 years ago, I went to DIH. And the person at the gate, when I mentioned his name, recognized who I was talking about and made one call, and I got to go up to the director's office. Well, the director is now my father, who was my father's second at the time, Mr. Michael Pereira. And the treatment I got, because I was Harripersad Singh's son, was amazing. I'm not sure people understand what that kind of respect is or what that means to anyone. But to me, it gave me a sense of feeling and being. Of course, while still in Guyana, Harry was also a member of the esteemed Lions Club in Guyana. and this afforded him many new acquaintances who became close friends. He often had many new friends come to the house, and one friend in particular, and Uncle Bobby, used to come and he used to put on Harripersad records. And that's why we know most of those bhajans. One of my dad's favorite bhajan that Harripersad sang was Shri Radhe Govinda. I'm not going to sing it, Kapi, don't worry. Hari was an extremely committed person to his family. And I remember when his sister Kala's son died, he drove non-stop from Winnipeg to Toronto in rain and sleet and snow and ice on the roads. And when he got to Toronto, there was at least 2 or 3 inches of ice on the front of the car. I know this because he woke me up in the middle of the night and says, Raj, I got to get to Toronto and I need you to come and drive with me. I said, okay, Dad. Upon hearing of his father's illness, that time we were living here in Winnipeg, his father was here for a while and then they moved back to Guyana. Dad immediately got on a flight to Guyana, only to arrive shortly after his father's passing. However, he did his duties as a son for the last time. As an only son of an only son, Dad, I can now understand the immense feelings that cannot be shared that you kept to yourself for all these years. We were always here together in Canada. As family was important to him. We went on vacations together. As Malini said, we did everything, almost everything together. And because family was so important, the vacations we took were to visit families. We visited families in Scarborough, in Queens, in Croydon, Los Angeles, Joliet, Vancouver, and all over the place where we had family. And it was great because Dad was either attending a function there or speaking, or there was some occasion or such. And you've heard about when we were immigrated to Canada, and my eldest sister's, she wasn't qualified to come with us and so on. Well, and you've heard it from several speakers. Harry was a spectacular negotiator. His skills were well known or are well known amongst his close circles. So was the case, of course, with the immigration officer. In July 4th, 1975, Harry and his entire family migrated to Canada. I say migrated because he wasn't just an immigrant coming to Canada for a better life. He was doing well in Guyana. He was well connected at the time, and he could have had an extraordinary life in Guyana. However, instead he gave it up. He was a big boy there, as they used to call it. He gave it all up, working for one of the largest companies there, to come to Canada. And in conversations with my father in previous years, I said, Dad, why would you have done that? You had it great. I go back to Guyana, I see things would have been way much better for you there now. He said, Raj, when I see how happy your mom is and how well all of you are doing here in Canada, I wouldn't change a thing. And so the legacy continued. Harry came to Winnipeg and started to work at the university in the agriculture department, subservices veterinary distribution, later privatized to Midwest Veterinary Co-op, where he was the buyer of the organization. And he worked there for most of his tenure. During this time, of course, as many Guyanese do, he sought out to find other Guyanese folks here in Winnipeg, and discovered that there were many families here from the same district and areas that he was in Guyana. New friends formed, just some by being familiar Guyanese, and others linked to persons who he knew from Guyana and the Caribbean community here in Winnipeg. One such meeting was that of a business acquaintance who he only knew by phone and got reacquainted to here in Winnipeg. And after a short while, our families became very close. Another was someone he met on a plane by a chance meeting and became very good friends. I think that person may be here today. I'm sure you know who you are. He was a sought out speaker and an MC at most functions. Harry was a charismatic person, as you've heard from many speakers. He became known to most Guyanese folks here in Winnipeg, and as such, took part in several functions, including religious, weddings, and other occasions. Just the other day, someone commented to me, "You remember when your dad was the MC at my wedding?" And I'm like, "I can't remember that." Yes. Yeah, you should remember Uncle Harry was a staple at all those functions. You would always see Uncle Harry at all them people thing, either talking or MCing. Harry built a reputation of confidence, integrity, warm-heartedness, kindness, and sincerity. He included everyone from all walks of life. He made new friends, old and young, at all stages of his life, assisted many new immigrants to Canada and Winnipeg alike. Of course, Dad was also a spiritual person. He was the founder, as you've heard, or one of the founders of the Manitoba Arya Samaj. And as you've already heard, he helped to make the Samaj a place of peace and was instrumental in the upkeep and strength of the organization, true to the teachings of Swami Dayanand. Always encouraged everyone to take part in Havan Yajna and sing bhajans. He did on many occasions perform Havan at the Mandir, as you've heard, and of course, play various instruments. I remember him telling us, we have to learn to play the harmonium. He mentioned that he wanted to learn to play the harmonium in his younger years, but he didn't get an opportunity. But he did in his older years, and Dad could play the harmonium and sing many, many bhajans. Today, his grandchildren are all playing some instrument or the other. Dad, your zest for sound and music and singing is going to live on. I know it. In 1997, Harry retired and committed his life to his family, his grandchildren, and his religion. He traveled extensively, as you've heard, with a very close group of friends and family. Harry Singh saw the good in everyone. He tried to give the best advice, enabled folks to achieve their goals, comforted anyone in need, and even tolerated some. He was always looking ahead instead of behind, trying to see farther, and considering the outcome before the action. He was a true contributor to society. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to leave you with a deep-rooted principle that my father imparted onto me, that which was passed on from his father to him. And he always tried to live by this way of life. And please excuse the lack of pronunciation and our lost sections, because this came from Sanskrit to some dialect of Hindi. And of course, it came from India, Madhya Pradesh, to Berbice, Guyana, and now here to Winnipeg. And it goes like this. Jaha Samat, Waha Sambati Ave, Jaha Kumat, Waha Bipatani Gawe. And loosely translated, it means, if you do good things with good intentions, Avinash, then good things will come to you. But if you don't do things, good things, and have no good intentions, what do you expect? What an excellent way to go forward with life. To my sisters, Dad used to say, not all 5 fingers are the same. I would like you all to know that I will always be here for you. Just like Dad did with his sisters. No matter where I am or what I'm doing. I am now, and I will always be there for you. So, Mom, do you remember when Dad gave a speech at the Mandera about Mother's Day? You don't? Let me remind you. He said, and he was talking about you, that every mother, Mother's Day is not just one day of the year. Mothers, children should pay respects to their mother daily. And I want you to know, Mom, that I look after you. You'll never be by yourself or alone. Lots of family have already extended to me that they're coming to visit you in the closing months, in the next months. To my remaining Puas, who unfortunately could not be here today, but hopefully are viewing on a live link, as the only son of the only son and your brother, I have always tried to visit you and keep in contact and in touch with you. Now more than ever, I will endeavor, as my father asked me to keep his promise to you. And so, Mr. Singh, Hari, Babu, Aja, Nana, Dad, you've departed onto your journey into Purna, Janma, which is rebirth, or perhaps Samadhi, which is supposed to be the highest level of moksha, or the universe. I know this world, Dad, has been left far better than it was when you came into it, partly because of you and people like you. And I hope you continue your adventures, and don't worry, we will continue your legacy. Goodbye, Dad. Awo, awo, Bhagwan. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mama Raj. Okay, just closing up here, I'm going to ask Pandit Naresh to come back up just to give us a closing prayer, and he'll give us some direction on what's happening on after that. Thank you.
Supreme Namaste. My prayer today is that we all gathered here to pay our respects to the life of the late Harripersad Singh. And if we can walk away with few of the values that he's left us, we would have fulfilled our mission to be here, saying goodbye and also being with the family to support them. As human beings, we also are emotional beings. We need people around us to assist us in emotional way also, to lend a helping hand, to give a shoulder to lean on. And I hope that you continue to support this family during this period of grief. And days to come, you can always share a phone call. I know we are not always in the same vicinity, but with technology, we can still share our thoughts and prayers. I'd like to close by praying that we share that love with each other. And I will ask you to stand after. Let us close, and then you'll have the opportunity to come and view the body once again with samagri and petals of flowers. Om Sam Gajadvam Sam Vadadvam Sam Omanamasi Janatam Deva Bhagam Yatha Purve Sam Janana Upasate. Walk together with love. Speak such words that will bring about peace and harmony within your families, and do your duty the way your foreparents and parents did. Om Yajjagrato Duramudeti Devam Tadu Suptasya Tetheveti Durangamam Jyotisham Jyotirekam Tanme Manah Shiva Sankalpamastu. Om Susharathirashwani Vayan Manushyan Ne Niyate Bhishabhir Vajaneva Pratishtam Yadajiram Javishtam Tanme Manah Shiva Sankalpamastu. Tanme Manah Shiva Sankalpamastu. That mind that leads us all like an expert charioteer controlling the reins of his horses. That which is heart abiding, ever moving, and the speediest of all forces. May that our minds be filled with beautiful and benevolent thoughts. Om Namaste Satete Jagat Karanaya Namaste Chite Sarvaloka Shrayaya Namo Dvaita Tatvaya Mukti Pradaya Namo Brahmane Vyapine Shashwataya Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhushcha Saka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. You, Lord, our Mother, our Father, brother, and friend, you're the source of learning and wealth. You're God of all. Shanti Pata, peace in the heavens, peace on earth. May the waters be soothing. May the melted earth be healing. May the plants be the source of peace to us. May all enlightened objects and enlightened ones bring peace to us. And may we be able to spread that peace throughout. Om Yahu Shanti Antariksham Shanti Prithvi Shanti Rapa Shanti Roshidhaya Shanti Vanaspati Shanti Vishve Deva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti Shanti Reva Shanti Sama Shanti Redhi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste. Please have your seats. You're going to give directions all the time. Yes. You'll have the opportunity once again to do the viewing, and Raj, can you just move the sheets around, please? Yeah. You can come from the back, take some petals of flowers and some samagri, and you can put it on the body. Please, I humbly ask that you put it from the chest region to the lower region and not on the face. And after you've done so, you go out this way. You exit this way, and you'll be directed to go to the refreshments area. Let us try to do this as efficiently as possible. So please, let's start from the back, and you come forward, take a few petals of flowers and the samagri and then proceed outwards. Thank you once again. Namaste.
Turn this off.
Oh.